welcome back to my Creative Chronic Life, and today I am back with a June plan with me in my Filofax Saffiano in the personal size. Now, if you've been following my channel, you do know that I had a little poll over on Instagram to choose what sticker kit I should use for my June setup, and everybody chose this one. So I added some other bits to it as well, and this kit is from Stick with Kate. I am part of her Patreon, and basically we get freebie stickers depending on what tier, and then if you're in the pen pal tier you get physical stickers. So some of these were belonging to that, others I've purchased myself from her shop, and I just think it's a really cute sticker kit. It's actually called Neutral Planner, so if you do want to pop over to her shop and get something similar, this is the name of it. So we'll pop these to the side for the moment, and then we'll do a quick little recap. So I added a couple of new things to my planner. I added a couple of new things to my planner. We have this Start with Coffee die cut sticker from Colour Cafe, and then we have this little pretty charm which I had in one of my other planners, which I picked up from a stash from Leela Journals, I think it is, and I thought it would be quite cute to kind of add with the gold. So we'll just pop that to a side. Now, this was our May setup, and to be honest, I've been working really well with the way that this layer has served me. I won't specifically share the actual inserts because I do have a couple of personal things on there, but what we will do is we will be finishing the week that we're on and going into the first week of June. So I will pop this to the side, and we have our inserts all ready to go, pretty much in order. So I thought it would be really good for us to kind of do together. So the way I like to do this is preferably I empty everything out. So we'll start with this, we'll just add that here, and then if we've got any other little bits, and then I literally like to take everything out and start afresh. Sometimes it's difficult to get everything out, so I will just so we'll pop these to the side. I am still looking for a planner to really try and figure out how I will be storing the inserts I'm using, because majority of the time I will be using them for about a week, most of them. So we have all the inserts here that I'm using. Of course, we have our monthly section, if I can find it. So I must have popped them into the wrong pile. So this is the monthly section, then we have our monthly overview. So we do have an actual blank page, so I will be decorating on that instead of having an extra page. And then I like to add in a inbox page, which basically just means that I can write what needs to get done, and if I don't necessarily have a space to put it, I can always write it in there and delegate a time for it. Next we have our routines planner. Now I like to add this in because it just gives me a little bit of, I like to add this in because I can write down the routines, like weekly, half yearly, monthly, what I like to do in terms of daily as well. So if I like to check in my planners in the morning or in the afternoon, let's not forget to add our sections. let's pop that in. So I don't think we'll be keeping anything specific from the previous weeks. So we'll add this one in. And then I do have the final week of May, and I just wrote in, it was bank holiday weekend, made a Bakewell tart, homemade cups of tea. I also did a cheese pizza which was homemade, and just talking about insulin and things like that. I am going to change the way I do this. I think I've decided I'm going to print it out in colour format, just because a lot of my pictures seem not to pick up with the kind of Pulio print, and I would prefer if that would be actually better off. So we'll just place this here for the moment. And then the next we have our week of sections here. I do like to have a double layout spread, which I think is brilliant. As you can see here, it makes it much easier, and I find that this is enough space because I have different sections now for different things. I think I'll be popping in maybe a good, I think this is a 3-4 week in June, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have Monday, Tuesday, which is the beginning of the following week. So I think I'm going to add them in, and then if it becomes too bulky I can add them after. Then I like to add in a weekly running list, because I just find that having tasks that are not necessarily on the day-to-day. So for example, on my list now, I think for about, I don't know, 6 weeks I need to sort out a pile of paperwork, and I still haven't done it. So in the hopes that it goes on this task, it would be easier. But what I would normally do is add it into the inbox, then try to pick a week, and if it's going on this week, because if I really think I want to get to it, then I try to get to it. If it doesn't, I can just follow it over. Again, we've got a good couple of weeks worth here, but I'm going to add them in, and then if it's too bulky I will change that out. I've also wanted to add in this is more like a monthly tracker, and you've got weekly and then monthly and a little note section. Even though I have like my medical side tracker, I do have a specific tracker, but I want this to have different habits on there, and we'll talk more about that as we get on. So as you can see, like, I've really got that wrong. Let me see if I can find one that actually fits. Yeah, that's much better. So I think that's all I'll be adding for that month section. Next we have a weekly cleaning section, and again I'm going to add as much as I possibly can. I would prefer them to just be kind of 2 weeks at a time, so I think that's enough. And then this is a new custom insert, and it's from Planner Insert Co. It is a pages read. So basically we have our days of the month across, we have our 10, 20, 30, 40 up to however much you want pages. We have 2 lines here in each section, so I can, if I'm reading more than one book, which usually I do, I can read, let's say, write down, I don't know, at the moment I'm reading Land of Wolves by N.V. Wright, and then let's say I'm going to read, I don't know, Onyx Storm. I can add both of them there, and you can see they've got little lines across here which help. I can colour coordinate them, and it's so much easier to be able to track how many pages I've read per day. I do try to read at least 10 pages per day, but this was a custom made insert and I absolutely love it. Last month was the first time I used it, but all you need to really do is just open it up. So we have that there. Next we will add our next insert in. This is our next dashboard. Next we have our tracker. So this is what I meant about tracking habits, but I want to be more specific and more intentional. So for example, if they're medical related, they'll go on here. We have a sleep tracker as well, and then we also have now a fatigue tracker, which helps me know how fatigued I am, and also a symptoms tracker, which I think is brilliant. Next insert. Oh, is it? Actually, I think it's then we have a medication tracker. We have our calorie tracker, which I don't use for calories. I actually use to calculate how much carbs I've had per meal and a total per day, because I'm trying to hit for a target with diabetes, blood sugars, if I've had any weird episodes. And then this page here is the kind of medication tracker. So we've got medication and mood, and then notes, which is really helpful just to keep on track to make sure I've got everything going. Then we have another insert. Then we have our social media kind of planner / tracker, which is a little bit difficult because of the amount of space, but I make do, because it's just so much easier to have a quick space here rather than to have a separate section. Now these are custom orders that I've had made for myself, again from Planner Insert Co. And basically I like to make YouTube videos. I also like to create content, blog posts, that type of thing. So across here I will write what I'm doing. So for example, this kind of YouTube video, I will write Safiano plan with me, and then it will say idea, what goal, kind of platform I'm using, do I have a script or an outline, what supplies I will need, set up the space, film main video, b-roll and extras, transfer to iPad, all that type of thing, and then I can tick along the way, and it has been exceptionally helpful. Actually add some of the previous ones because I haven't quite finished them all. And then we also have a content plan. So if you want to have like a title, category, what platform, description to do, if I want to create a specific video, I only like to add one of them. And then again we have a symbols tracker, which is a custom insert again, and it's specific to what I need. So not started, in progress, complete. So if I just want to write down small abbreviations, I can. So this is just a symbols page for me to remember. We also then have my yearly tracker of how many videos I've done per month and how many shorts and things like that, which is a yearly one. I love looking back on it, to be honest. I think it's brilliant. We then have a filming ideas page, and then we've got our insert. Hopefully that will stay and not be so chunky. Okay, so the next ones are kind of related to grocery lists and meal plans. We have another grocery list. So these are meant to be for the remainder of the month. Meal plans. We have a list if I want to take anything with me, and then at the end we've got some more list pages or note pages, and then we also have our recipes, which I like to add to. So I think what I'm going to do is just switch some of them around so the lists are more towards the end. There we go. I think this month might be a little chunky, but like I said, if it ends up being that way, I will just take out some of the inserts. We then have homemade recipe for pizza, which I like to keep in here because I always seem to have my planner wherever I go. So I want to add that in there for sure. So let's add that one. I do like to do a quick once over just to see if I have missed anything that I really would like to have in this section. I missed an insert. I think that's everything. If I do miss out on anything, I can always go back to it. So let's go back now. I think I'd like to split some of these just to make it a little bit easier. I actually already split them. Maybe one between the reading tracker, because I would really like to add in an audio version at one point. Okay, so these are our sections so far. We have our monthly section, an inbox. See, I do feel like I am probably going to have to take some things out. Our daily sections. We have our weekly running lists and weekly tracker, along with the cleaning lists, as well as reading tracker. We then have everything related to kind of health, fatigue, tracking, medication. We have our social media, and then we have another section where we have meal planning and recipes, which I think is brilliant. To be honest, I do wish that I had some bigger rings, but at the same time, it's okay. So here are our stickers. And then I also have some scripts for the monthly section, and I'm not quite sure which is going to look better. So I have a variation of them. I do like this chunky June version, so I think that might be my first option, but I thought for now we could decorate this together. So I think I do want to use these little mandala kind of effects, maybe along the top. We'll start off with that. And I do like these ones, I think they're really pretty. Okay, so I think that's going to, should I add 3? Maybe, let's see. I don't particularly like to decorate the rest of this planner, but I do find that I'm more prone to want to decorate this page, because the weekly pages I decorate with what's going on, and then the monthly section is the only thing that stays for the entire month. So I think that's why I'm more inclined to want to decorate it. So I think in our last episode we just had a little catch up. I do really enjoy doing these proof of life episodes, and again, it's not a concept that I came up with. It's actually from Megan Rihanna, and I couldn't remember her name previously, and she always shares kind of what's going on in her life, health wise, anything else that she's got going on. And I love the concept of having a space where you can actually sit down and talk about your health, and know that those people that are coming to it, they may not necessarily be triggered by it, and they want to listen and hear about kind of what's going on. Whereas my other videos, I do try not to talk about health related issues, So this is a nice space, and it has been a nice space to be able to sit down and talk, and I've had some great feedback so far. I'm thinking about using this kind of black washi tape. I did actually pick this up from Sanam Creative. I do have a haul as well. And maybe just to tear off a little bit. I like that a lot. That turned out really well. I like the fact that you can see the checkered kind of boxes underneath too. Last time I shared a Proof of Life episode, I had some changes that I needed to make in terms of diabetes. I was waiting on some results to come back. I also needed to have like an update on one of my apps, which I've had done, and I can say quite proudly that my blood sugar levels have come down. We've tweaked and kind of changed some things because I'm on a lot of other medication and autoimmune medication, which I take like daily injections for. It's been quite difficult to realistically be able to control my diabetes because I don't have exercise. Well, I can't exercise physically because of my disabilities and limitations. But I found that the tweaks we've made now, which is kind of lowering carb, increasing insulin, has definitely helped. And I think overall it's just made it a nicer and easier place for me to be at, which means then I know that I'm working in the right direction. Let's put this here. So that's been really good and really good news. I've also been feeling quite, what's the word? I don't want to use the word unwell, but almost dizzy. I wasn't doing the best, and I just felt like that I needed to find out what was going on. I think these are going to be, this chunky one I think is going to be great to use. So when I had the recent blood test done, I kindly was told that I'm now anemic too. So that means that the dizziness, the kind of falling over, that type of thing, has a reason behind it. Let's add that here. Just place June right there. We missed the little bit off the J. That's fine. I think I like that quite a lot. So I'm on a 3-month course with ferritin, and I've got to go back in for some tests this coming week because my blood pressure was a bit high, and I'm not quite sure why because I feel fine. And then I've got to go back in for some repeat blood tests as well, so that's okay. Overall, kind of my CRP for my markers for my autoimmune condition are absolutely fine. They've been fine for quite a while, which I'm really pleased about, which means the medication's working. And then other than that, generally health wise, I've been having some more stomach problems. I just want to pop this somewhere, but I'm not sure which one. We have success flows Success flows effortlessly to me. I'm evolving into my best self. I'm a powerful creator of my reality. I am unburdened by limiting beliefs. Challenges are stepping stones to success. I am the author of my story. My dreams are within reach. I embrace my journey fearlessly. I like this one a lot. And I'm wondering if we add this down the side, or would it be better here? Maybe here. I think that is great, which leaves us then no, I feel like that will be too much. We do have some little bits of silver in here, which I'm thinking maybe if I can find something silver, we could add that in there. So I found these holographic, I think they're called flower dangles from Little Bloom Papery, which I think will go really well. I think I picked these up from an advent calendar a couple of years ago because Little Bloom Papery doesn't do any advents anymore. And should we do some smaller ones? Let's try. And then I think that would look great. I really like how that turned out, and I still have a couple of leftover stickers that I can use on some of the other pages if I like. But I think simple is definitely much better. I do really like how that turned out. Let's see if we can bring that closer. Okay, so we will start on the other side now, and we will do June. I would love to be able to add like teeny tiny stickers in there, but I just feel like it's not something that's permanently staying in this planner, so it doesn't really make a difference. The first was a Monday. So I wasn't quite sure where I was at in terms of sharing information, but I have been busy prepping for my shoulder procedure, which should be next week. So by the time you watch this, I probably would have already had it done, fingers crossed. So it means for maybe about, well, I already made a boo-boo there, didn't I? Instead of writing 11, I wrote 13. Always something. It's okay. These things happen. I think what I might do is I might just add in a little bit of washi here at the bottom, just because why not? It's cute. So that's the front side and that's the back side. Next, what I like to do is grab my phone and to figure out what I've got going on as much as I know. Probably just do the first week. So on the 2nd, we have the dietitian calling. added a couple of things in, and then I can always go back and finish that off later. So let's add that in. And see what that looks like. But that is our June monthly section. I think it looks super cute. Next we have our inbox to fill in, but at the moment I'll probably just do that off camera. And then I think the next pages we have are these pages here. So again, let's pop this to the side. I don't think I'm going to add any washi here, but we have June. And then we started off with the 1st. I almost thought I wrote it wrong then. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So that is for me to set up for my week, and I think that's it so far. I will probably have to go off camera and fill out all of the other bits, but I think it's going to be okay. Obviously our weekly ring list, I think I will just take some pages out. I just feel like it's quite a tight schedule. It's actually okay once you get started. And then we've got our weekly cleaning. I'm really looking forward to see how this comes out. I will probably be using colour because last month I used like browns and blacks and it just didn't look as nice as I wanted it to look. So that's definitely going to be colour. We've obviously got already our social media section. You can see I still need to figure out how to cut the items properly, insert should I say. Know what you think about if I should get another Saffiano. If you know of any planners that have larger rings, maybe in a personal size, do let me know, because I think it would be so beneficial for me, because I don't have to really have to continually take out all of the little bits and pieces, and I could possibly keep in more than 1 month at a time. I feel like that would be something that I would really benefit from. Because you can see like it's pulling, but I'm not sure if it's the specific way I cut the inset or is it genuinely because I kind of have limited space. I'm not sure, but I think kind of that's turned out really well. Like I mentioned, I probably will be off for quite a while. I do have some filming that I've done pre-hand, but when it comes to the proof of life episodes, they are week by week or sometimes monthly. So I always do this kind of monthly plan with me, checking. So like I said, I've had blood results, my blood sugars are fine, I'm anemic, I'm also going in for my shoulder procedure, and generally other than that I do want to add like little sections of anything kind of that I've bought or you know what I've purchased or any of my favourites, but I think that will probably have to wait until I'm feeling much better. I think at the moment I don't want to give myself so much to do and then burn myself out. I did have another episode of one of my, I don't want to call them epilepsy because it's not that, it's something different. I have these episodes where I end up having like quite strong cramping and leg pain, and I almost feel like I'm a little bit hazy. And then when I'm actually sleeping, it feels like when you look at somebody who's having epilepsy or having an epileptic fit, that's what it feels like to me. But it's like I'm in a dream state. It's really weird. I'm not sure if it's connected to my autoimmune condition with my autoimmune condition. I get really, really low fever, so below 32, 33, and I end up kind of passing out sometimes for 10 minutes, sometimes for 5, other times for an hour, sometimes for 6-7 hours, and I'm in almost like a dream state, but I know what's going on around me. And these episodes happen, they're not painful per se, they're painful at the time, and when I wake up I feel like I'm really zoned out of it and I don't feel well. So I wanted to be able to have a space to mark that down in the planner as well, to see if I can figure out, is it due to stress, is it fatigue, is it just generally I have no idea why it's happening. So this is where this kind of planner, Safiana planners, come into play, where it's more related about health and things. But I would prefer to have a larger ring size. I am still looking for one that's not so expensive, because I really don't want to be spending any more this month. May was a heavy month for spending. I broke my kind of desk chair, which I use for pretty much everything, in terms of like with my disabilities, when my husband's getting me dressed, or if I don't want to rest in bed, I use that chair and it broke. I've had it for over 10-11 years, so having to replace that was an extra expenditure, and other things in between that I needed. So I would love to have something that's not going to be as expensive, but of course if I don't have any other option, I don't have any other option. But I do really enjoy using this planner. Like I said, I just wish it was a little bit more bigger in terms of the rings. I have seen people buy rings on Amazon, but I don't really want to use it. I don't want to ruin it, to be honest. And I just feel like that if I do ruin it, then I can't kind of go back, and that's money that's lost. So I'd rather just pay the money one time to be able to get what I need. And the need is, I love this size, I love how it looks, I love the feel of it. I just would prefer bigger rings. So fingers crossed for everything kind of that I've got going on. Hopefully with having kind of more medication, my iron levels will kind of get back up again, and I feel like I have more energy. Also, once I'll be resting for about a good 6-8 weeks once I've had kind of my procedure done, which then will mean that I might have catch-ups a little bit less this month in terms of the proof of life episodes. But once I come back, I will try and make sure that I do a month, so I show you week by week what I've got going on, and try and give you as much information as possible, because I think the whole point of this is for me to share kind of what I've got going on, and kind of symptoms and feelings and things like that. If there's anything specific you'd like me to share, let me know. If there's anything specific you don't want me to share, also let me know. I don't mind if you leave them in a comment box below, and of course I'll be back as soon as I possibly can. So I hope you have enjoyed this kind of little mini catch-up and June plan with me in my Safiana Filofax personal size planner. And again, I use the Stick with Kate kit along with the washi tape from Salam Creative. I also use the June script from Little Bloom Papery, and I am the author of my story from Stick with Kate 2, and the filed elements are also from Little Bloom Papery. So thank you so much for watching. If you're not already aware, I have my own website where I share all things related to kind of my life. You can find me at www.mycreativechroniclife.co.uk. Thank you so much. Until next time, bye bye.